they see women as a weaker vessel. So they just think that, what can you do? A man can do it better than you.
We need more women to understand that your voice is needed. So you need to show up in your own full glory, whatever that means, however that looks, in whatever form. It is important. And I try to show that, like she said, by showing up, just being here, getting dressed, feeling beautiful. It's important for people to be inspired by that, to see that if she can do it, I can do it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special edition of MTN Yellow Couch in celebration of the 2024 International Women's Day. And today we are honored to be joined by four remarkable women who are trailblazers in their individual industries. And our focus is actually on inclusivity and empowerment, particularly in sectors traditionally dominated by men. My name is Give David, and I'm so honored to be your host today. Now, let's kick things off as we introduce our beautiful guest, looking really powerful and beautiful at the same time. And to my right, I have Elizabeth Osho, who is a PR expert and also the CEO of SoMe Enterprise. How are you doing today, Elizabeth?
Very well, Gift. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And to my other left is the beautiful Black and beautiful Toby Ayeni, popularly known as Miss Techie. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Thank you so much.
How's the whole tech industry?
Yeah, we're thriving. Vision Pro and all of that.
All right, sitting very beautifully beside her is Layole Oyatogun. You will not believe I murdered this name earlier today. But then she was forgiving me because she's looking extremely beautiful in her blue dress. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm very well.
You look absolutely gorgeous.
I mean, I'm trying to match up with the vibe. And beside her is the very popular Latasha of Lagos. And you know her as also Latasha Ngube, journalist, media expert, fashion police. If she catches you on the red carpet, not looking good, you and her going hard on. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having
And
me
you
and
look
for having all of
beautiful.
us here.
I'm so honored to have each and every one of you.
Thank you.
So today we're celebrating the International Women's Day. Before we go into that, if there's any woman sitting beside you, your mom, your sister, your colleagues, this is a very good time for you to get up on your feet and give them a round of applause. So right now, I'm going to be celebrating this beautiful women on my own by giving you guys a round of applause. I mean, I've been watching Latasha on TV for a very long time. Fashion police, you and Layole. I've been going at loggerheads at each other when it comes to fashion. And Layole on the red carpet in Silverbird back in the day. It was such a beauty to watch how much you've grown. And also the CEO of SoMe, seeing women in tech now. I mean, all of these things. I mean, for so many years, we've been fighting inclusivity, gender equality, and all of that. And now looking at how far we've come, I'm going to start with you because your industry is men dominated, right? And look at you doing wonderful stuff. I mean, Latasha was talking to you earlier about releasing your own phone, and you're like, but and then she kind of made you understand why why you can actually do this. Now, so let's talk about this inclusivity, especially in an industry like yours.
So I started Miss Techie 2015, and I remember when I started, the reason why I started was because at that time there were no female-owned tech blogs. It was just male-dominated tech blogs, and everybody was just doing the same thing. You know, it was too serious. So I thought to myself, why can't I come in and try to simplify tech as much as I can, so that regardless of whether you understand the intricacies of tech, if you read my blog or you read my article, you would know about tech. So that was the whole idea behind Miss Techie. And trust me, I faced a lot of challenges. The guys, I remember one time because of my style. So on a particular popular forum, then they created like a thread about me, talking down about my work. And I just realized that the only reason why they were able to say that was because, first of all, the female part. If a guy was doing the same thing I did at that time, they'll probably not have done that, right? So this is such an important topic in this day and age. And I feel that in Nigeria, we're not there yet. Like, I feel we still need a lot of, education when it comes to things like this, especially.
All right, thank you very much for sharing that. So now, to you, Elizabeth, SoMe Solutions, right? Can you tell us a little bit about your journey venturing into this industry and to your company as well?
Absolutely. So this year we'll make it 8 years that we
Wow.
started the firm. Yeah.
Nice.
I can't believe 8 years. And guys, I hate to say this because I'm not a feminist, but I like to see myself as someone who stands for women empowerment. But very soon, within a couple of months of starting the company, I got a guy on board.
Wow.
And the reason I got a guy on board was that it became very clear to me that I needed a guy facing my clients.
Wow.
I realized that I wasn't being taken seriously in every room that I came into. And I realized that there were some, opportunities that I would get that they would just not take. We were all girls, myself and the entire team. It was a group of young women led by a young woman. And, there was some authority missing. So not just even with my clients, with stakeholders, so that is media, that is influencers, there was this touch that a man was bringing. And I hate to admit it, but it's just the fact. So 8 years later, a friend of mine is reminding me that, Liz, do you remember the time when you thought you needed a guy to, be the face of the brand, or to at least enter some rooms with you and hold your hand? And it's funny because times have changed. I no longer feel like, anyone is going to look down on me because I'm a woman. But 8 years ago, that was the case. And so we're growing and the world is getting to be more inclusive. Of course, there's still a lot of work to be done, but I'm proud to say, guys, as I sit here, we're still a team of 8.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's such a beautiful story. Now, coming to you, Latasha, right? You are one person who's always preached about, body positivity, fashion, and you've gone ahead to do big stuff even in the entertainment industry. And how would you say, you can navigate the whole gender bias and stereotype in your industry, especially, the entertainment industry, the fashion industry in general?
I guess it stems from actually my childhood, because I am possibly one of those few people who was fortunate enough to have parents who completely believed in their child's capacity. And so as a child, I had no limits, not in terms of like discipline, but just wherever my mind could take me, I was allowed to go. And my mom bought me a lot of books, and so it released my mind. And very, very quickly, I knew that there was nothing that was out of reach for me. As long as I wanted it, I could have it. I could do it. I was always in competition with the boys in my class. If someone came first, I would be the person that came second. If I came first, a boy would come second. There was a boy called Brent. He was my nemesis because I would never let that boy beat me. Like, I could never take it. And so very fiercely and very early, I knew that nothing could limit me in a gender capacity, completely out of the question. And so as I got older and found myself in the media space, I just came to it as me. Not trying to be anything else but me, which meant simply to me that wherever I wanted to go, whatever it is I wanted to do, whatever it is I wanted to try to achieve, I could do it. And I was never looking at my gender.
That is so beautifully put. Now, coming to you, Lily, right? She spoke about, having to grow in that space and not looking at the things that could actually hold her down, being a woman, being Igbo, and all of that. And this day, we have a lot of women out there who are held back by their, maybe, would I say, attributes that they feel cannot let them get to where they want to get to, right? And in this case, this is where mentorship, and we're talking about empowerment, right? This is where mentorship and empowerment comes in. So in an industry like yours, how do you think, mentorship and mentorship can actually help in inclusivity and empowerment of young women out there?
I would say that I'll borrow a leaf from Latasha. I was raised like a man because my father has 3 girls. So there's no boys. So he raised us like boys, and there's no limit to what you can achieve. Now, that's why I do a plethora of things. I'm very versatile. I started out as a broadcaster, an actor. I have a PR and management company. I mentor people. I produce. So I do a lot of things, and it's just from the fact that you have a father that tells you that there's absolutely nothing impossible for you to do. Even the word impossible has possible in it. So I have quite a number of people who come to me and ask me a lot of questions, people who are confused, people who don't know what to do in the industry. There's so many things going on. So if you don't have that right person who is going to tell you that, see, I've made quite a number of mistakes walking up the ladder, climbing up the ladder, I mean. So I don't want you to do the same things I did. I don't want you to make the same mistakes I made. So this is the right, but some listen, some don't. Because the youngsters have started making so much money, especially the ones online. So they think that, what are you talking about? I don't want to stay as long as you are. I don't want to take so long before I get there. But I mean, they don't understand that sometimes when you go through, there's a process for you to go through, and it builds capacity, it builds strength, it builds a lot of things. So you need that mentor who is not competing with you, who looks at you and wants you to go higher than they did, achieve things that you didn't achieve. Do you understand? So I have a lot of women who come to me, you know, who tell me that, oh, I want to get married and I want to achieve this. Do you understand? How do I do it? And I tell them my story. I tell them my mother's story. I have a friend, she's an engineer. She works with about 306 men. She's the only female engineer. She's a mother. She's a wife. Do you understand? Because sometimes they tell you that you can't achieve a lot of things if you're married. Yes. But you have to be divorced, single, separated before you can achieve a lot of things in Nigeria. And sometimes they tell you that whatever you've achieved is not enough if you don't have Mrs. attached to your name. So I try to change that misconception when I talk to youngsters. I tell them that you can achieve anything you want to achieve. Married, separated, divorced, single, you can achieve anything. And you know, the space of a mentor cannot be overemphasized. It's so important. This person has gone through a lot of things, the lows, the highs, the ups, you know, what's it called? The bringing down of women in industries, you know, people talking down at you. I remember when I was in Silverbed, we didn't have male editors. I was a producer of my show, producer, presenter, scriptwriter, everything. The only thing I couldn't do was edit. And when my editors were messing up, they didn't know that as I was sitting down, I was watching them and learning. So the day they decided, they had it up to here, I moved them aside and started editing my show. And that's why a lot of other people at work started, other men, because one man looked at me and said, the head of production looked at me and said that Lily, I've started editing, and you know what? At that time, a lot of people know how to edit, but at that time, people didn't know how to edit, you know. So he looked at me and said, you know, I have secretly started learning how to edit because of you. Like, you're a woman, you got in it. When you came into Silver, the only thing you could do was present. Now you present, you script, you edit, you produce, you do everything. You're like a powerhouse on your own. So when I walked into Silverbed, I could only present. When I left as a powerhouse. I could do everything and anything. When people were scared of leaving, I could take that bold step and leave. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, Liole. I mean, that was beautiful. One of the things I actually picked up from everything you said about empowerment, you said something about your dad.
Yeah.
Right. So one way or the other, it kind of starts from your home.
Yeah.
Because if your parents do not believe in you, if they don't say good stuff to you, they don't say good things or pray for you, there is no way you will go out there. I don't want to know who talks to you in this world. You would never believe, or it would take a lot of therapy and working before. I mean, looking at you now, you have 3 sisters. I'm sure the other 2 sisters are doing amazing stuff because
a badass.
Look at that. And that is because your dad believed in you. Some other person would be like, I don't have a son. All 3 of you just go get married and get out of my sight. But your dad allowed you live your life, live your dreams. And here you are empowering others based on what your dad had instilled in you. So yeah, a big shout out to your dad for doing amazing stuff. Oh my God, God rest his soul. But regardless, I just really want to appreciate all 4 of you on the amazing stuff that you're doing in your industry. So I'm gonna come back to you, Miss Techie, because your industry before, let me say 2020 or 2021, I don't think we hear women in tech.
Yeah.
For me.
Okay, so
we have a lot, but we didn't used to.
Yes, we didn't used to hear. That was what I said. We didn't used to hear.
Exactly.
Like, it wasn't really a thing at the time.
Yeah.
Of course, we had women who would, engineers and do computer and all of those things. Yeah. But up until the pandemic and after that, before it became a thing, because everyone was at home, doing stuff on social media, and then you see someone come on social media, oh, I'm a woman in tech. And then that trend started, and now we're celebrating a lot of them. Yeah. So in your industry, what would you say are the strategies that you've put in place to actually employ this inclusivity and empowerment for the women out there?
Okay, for me, I would like to use one strategy that I would like to talk about one strategy I always use, which is showing up, right? A lot of times people get encouraged because you're out there. You put yourself out there. I mean, there are times I make a lot of money from other sources, right? Aside from content creation, right? I could just say, you know what, today I don't feel like doing content. I can just do the other things I'm thriving on as well. But I just
the other things you do? I need to know because the way this got the economy, I need
don't
to
worry,
know.
I'll let you in. But the truth is, I realized that based on the DMs I've gotten so far in the past, many people saying, oh, you encouraged me, I watched your video and I started creating content as well. Or I saw a particular video and it just made me, you know, start something. I just realized that the value of being there can never be taken away, right? So showing up is very, very important. And in my own little way as well, I try to also encourage young people. You rightly said something about we need to catch people young, because the moment that foundation is destroyed, it's almost difficult, right? So in my own little way and in my own small community, I bring up girls and I teach them about tech. So these are people in my church, girls that do not have access to tech, that would never have access to a laptop, for example, because of, you know, where their parents are, or the income level of their parents. And I just, in my own little way and in my own little quota, try to encourage and teach them about tech.
All right, thank you very much for that. Yeah. So I'm going to come to you as well. In your industry, you're a PR expert. Like you said, when you started, you needed a front end, right? And then you had to bring a man on board. And right now you have 8 staff, 8 very strong women still doing amazing stuff. You can walk into any room right now, get any job. So now for those who are looking up to you, trying to do the same thing in this same PR industry, right? What would you say are the practical steps they can actually take when it comes to building a brand like you have, So Me Solutions?
So for me, I think that the first step would be to actually be practical about things and know that you need to learn. I feel like sometimes people feel like, you know, well, it doesn't look like rocket science. What's there? I can just start. But the truth about it is that what you do is you're setting yourself up for failure, or you're setting yourself up for having an experience that you don't need to, which cannot sometimes be a sweet one, you know? And so nobody is saying that, oh, because you've done some training, you can then have no pitfalls. However, it will help you. It's a guide. And I feel like because we have, like Layale said, people earning so much money on Instagram and social media, everybody thinks that they have the potential to be an influencer or to make money online. And I'm all up for that, but I want us to have a balance, you know, in the quest for, oh, you can do everything you want. Don't, you know, forego the days of learning, you know, because to be honest, if you cut, you know, if you make shortcuts, you actually get cut short. So it's about not thinking that, oh, I can quickly do it. You know, the path less traveled is the sweetest actually. And it's hard and it can take years. And I'm here 8 years later. But I know that there were some things that I did before. And so if anybody wants to go into PR, go and work for somebody. I worked for Mrs. Irabo for 4 years. I moved from England where I was earning pounds to earn, I don't even want to say what my first salary was, you know, with Mrs. Ira. But by the time I left 4 years later, it was a little bit more, but not that, you know, not that crazy. But the practical tools, I didn't even realize I was doing PR with her. But what I was the face of the brand. What she did was she quickly realized and harnessed, you know, the skills that I had, that this lady is good at events. This lady can plan all our summer parties. This lady is a people's person. She enjoys interacting with people. And that was how I was able to build a lot of relationships. And guess what? Come when I, you know, had So Me Solutions start, I already had the relationships. Osaz was a call away from me. She knew me. My clients could enjoy and leverage the relationships that I had built. But there was a time that I built those relationships. So I wasn't taking people's work and doing yama yama with it, you know, because you know, I've taken not only that, I handled it with experience and with the dedication that it deserved, because I knew what I was doing. I had practiced during those 4 years, you know, what it took to put an activation together, what it took to do influencer marketing. Even before influencer marketing became a thing, I had been influencer marketing. I just didn't know. You know, we didn't call it that.
At the time,
you know, even I didn't realize I was already doing public relations. It took for someone to say, what you're doing is PR. Do you know that? And I was like, oh, really? It's PR? She's like, you're doing PR for Genevieve. You know, and that was how I started my own PR company, and then of course learned.
Wow. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. If there's something I I'm going to merge what she said and what you just said right now. So she mentioned earlier that they always say, oh, women were our own enemies. But not forgetting your boss was a woman.
My boss was a
She
woman.
realized what you could do. And rather than kicking you off like, you know what, this girl might grow tomorrow to be a competition, she groomed you.
She did.
So, and look at you doing the same thing for a lot of women out there. So people need to stop this whole notion of, oh, because she's my boss, she doesn't want me to grow. If you're patient and you're ready to learn, if someone sees what you can actually become or achieve while you're learning, why not? I mean, of course, you don't want to be a witch. Like they always say, you don't want to be a witch trying to hold back someone else, because at the end of the day, you stopping someone does not make you grow bigger or does not even take you to the next level. So thank you so much for actually enlightening us on that. So I'm going to come back to you, Latashas, and ask, what advice would you give to women in the industry right now?
Okay, so it's 2024. We can't still be having those kinds of conversations about things like that, as far as I know. So one of the reasons why I'm not even as gung-ho as I was about a curvy life, which is the platform that I started, is because I felt like it did what it was supposed to do. First of all, it was ahead of its time. But it was needed at that time because there was nothing like that in that space. At the time, a lot of people said to me, why didn't you create a line? I'm like, no, what I'm doing is not to create something that is for me to profit from directly. It is to build an ecosystem that allows so many other players be able to benefit. Like who? So I had different designers understand that expanding your range to include more sizes made so much sense, both on a financial scale and also just in terms of even expanding your designer horizon. Because when you design for a larger person, you have to become a bit more creative. So you see that really excellent designers can go from size 0 to whatever. I think people who are very limited or who have a limited scope can only clothe a certain type of body, and that's great, but everybody doesn't look the same, right? So at that time, ATCL, About That Curvy Life, existed to help designers understand that they need to push beyond what it is that they were offering and to bring inclusivity into the space. Is to celebrate all bodies, because all bodies are beautiful. They are vessels. They carry you around. Without your body, you can do nothing. Do you know what I mean? And people's bodies change from different kinds of things. Illness, do you understand? Depression, COVID. People's bodies, some bodies never recovered from COVID, and that's just period. Women, even without pregnancy, go through changes in their bodies even in 1 month. Before you have your period, your body is bloated, you're messy, you're just like tired, your feet are swollen, your ankles. So we have all kinds of physiological changes all the time. If you're a woman, you know that like a dress that you wore this week, you can't wear it next week. Come back in 2 weeks, you wear it again. It's like that, right? So imagine that you are being held to a standard because of a number that somebody said. That is crazy to me. Do you know what I mean? And so to that, I say, no, you can't be limited by that. However, for those who always say, oh, your health is important for everybody.
All right, so before we conclude, I'd like to ask Liole this question. I mean, you are a talent manager, a female talent manager.
No, not just a female talent manager, but I have a lot of female celebrities that I manage.
Yes, but I'm talking about you as a person.
Okay.
You are a female talent manager.
Okay,
right.
Got it.
And we don't get to see this all the time because this industry is, I mean,
No.
traditionally dominated by men.
Yes.
And there are some women out there who would want to do this, but because they'd be like, nobody would take a woman serious. Like she said earlier, no one took her serious when she started the business because she was a woman. Now, because they have this limitation. But look at you doing stuff, doing amazing stuff. You're managing Yabo Joe, managing Prissy, you're managing even men as a female talent manager. So now, what are the biases that you face in this industry and the limitations you face in this industry?
So it's what every other woman has faced. People look at you and think you can do it, you know, and they see women as a weaker vessel. So they just think that, what can you do? A man can do it better than you. But the truth of the matter is that just as both of them said, you show up. And when you show up, you let them know that, look, that emotional side of being a woman is not here. This is business. I'm focused, I'm driven, I know what I'm doing. I have the spirit of excellence. Do you understand? I'm articulate. I know these things. Do you understand? So when you're in a boardroom and you open your mouth and tell them that this is what they will listen. I mean, I'm not saying that this is how it was from the onset. We got to a point where people had to listen. You see, when you keep showing up, do you understand? And you keep doing things properly, you have the spirit of excellence, they will listen. Do you understand? They can't, if you're so good, make yourself so good that people can't ignore you.
Oh, I mean, thank you for adding that part. So it's not just showing up, but showing up as the best version of yourself. You come prepared, come believing that you actually have something to offer. Because it's not about showing up. You can't just show up with nothing. I mean, no one would ever take you seriously.
Of course. I think you also, sorry to add, well, not sorry,
Go
adding this
ahead.
anyways, but to add to something that Liz said, which is about the part where you have to get into the training.
Yeah,
It's part
learning.
of it's part of that,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's part of the the spirit of excellence. It means knowing that, okay, I did this, but then self-awareness. What could I have done better? What would I do differently next time?
As well.
That development, exactly. Asking questions, researching. Me, I can't go a day without reading an article online. Like when I'm on my phone, I'm like reading. Like the pursuit of knowledge, it thrills me. Like just knowing something new, soaking in something new. And that is something that I would love to leave with younger women. You can't go wrong in trying to learn. You will never go wrong with that. And when people see is like, this girl, and because we're women, you are even more likely to get answers. Because people will take kindly upon you. You just come, I don't know, please show me. Use your feminine energy. I don't know, please show me. They will teach you.
I'll also love to add that, to the brands out here, because we've spoken very passionately about the work we're doing, how we're empowering in our capacity, but we also still have our ask.
Right.
And so to brands out here, to corporations, to entities that are also recruiting us to work with them in whatever capacity, whether it's 9-to-5ers, whether it's entrepreneurship, like, with the fact that I run my agency, give us some grace. So I remember also then finally getting pregnant and then thinking, because I was away, it was going to affect the brand. So you have to also think about it as a woman that's showing up for you, what they are going through, and reassuring them, that their job is not going to go away just because they are pregnant. Their jobs, their opportunities are not going to go away because they are now raising a family, because these are things that women are going through, you actually being worried. Actually, my pregnancy, the year I was pregnant, the year after I had the baby were some of our most successful. That was where we had the biggest campaigns. That was where our turnover was the biggest that it has ever been. Why? Because probably I worked double harder, to keep my space. And so what is my ask? It's for brands to actually provide a safe space. How many companies have where a woman can breastfeed? These little things matter. So I if there's anything I would leave with brands is please, consider us. Consider us.
This message is not just for the women,
Consider
for the
us.
brands as well, the entities. Please consider the women. So this year's theme for the International Women's Day is Inspire Inclusion. So before you leave, I'd like you to give your final words.
Okay, so for me, I think that this year's theme goes very well with Nigeria's theme for the year, whether you're a man or woman, which is we no go green. And so we no go green. We no go green. Show up, be intentional, learn, and surround yourself with people that are going to help you learn and take up space.
Okay, so for me, it will be, you need to put the extra work to be there, right? Like she said, it doesn't come easy. It's not something that you would get immediately. Personally, I had to put in extra hours to learn how to edit, and that's what made me stand out, right? So if you're watching this and you're a woman, be ready to put in the work.
I will say that you can and you will if you make up your mind to. And dream big, start small, grow fast, constantly reinvent yourself, stay humble. Always remember that if you're teachable, you will get there.
Inspiring inclusion. I'm happy to have been included in this gathering of amazing people, women. Very, very proud of how far we've come so far as Nigerian women. because it is not easy.
Yes.
It's not easy, period, anywhere. But it's not easy, particularly to be a Nigerian woman for so many reasons. And so applaud yourself. You are first of all still here. Now who they alive, fit make impact, fit make change. So just continue on your journey. Continue to move in the way you know how, but reach out. Please feel free. DM me, I'll respond.
Same
Yolanda,
here.
she'll respond. Techie Liz will respond.
I won't respond to Angela.
Oh, but ask questions. Reach out. If what you don't know, you don't know. So ask, feel your way through, research, read. You can't go wrong.
So we're going to be celebrating every woman out there this year and forever. Wishing every beautiful woman out there a Happy International Women's Day.
You ladies have been amazing, and I want to say a heartfelt thank you to our incredible panelists for sharing their stories and insights with us today on this special edition of Yellow Couch, powered by MTN. Now, together, through platforms like this and our ongoing efforts, we can continue to shatter glasses, ceilings, and pave way for future generations of women. My name remains Gift David, and I want to wish you a happy International Women's Day. Keep inspiring inclusion.